Matt Holmes here with University of Indianapolis men's basketball head coach Stan Gouard. And Coach, 19 wins here in back-to-back seasons. You know, the new rankings are going to come out today. You're going to be ranked in the top 25 for the fourth week in a row, fifth time this season. Conference tournament coming up this weekend. Looking back, though, at this season up to this point, these 26 games you've played so far, you know, what do you think about your team and the performance you've had up to this point in the season?
Well, these guys have showed tremendous resilience. We had a lot going this year with this basketball team and guys getting hurt. If you think about we're playing 8 or 9 guys, and practice is usually like 9 or 10 people in practice. And we've been fortunate. We've been blessed to have some great group of young men on this basketball team who have bought into what we're trying to do. And, you know, I know people get hurt every day, but you don't lose that many people in a season and had the success we've had this year. And a lot of credit goes to our players for the job they've done this year.
What's been the message to guys, you know, as guys go down? You know, what do you tell the guys who are still around and what they need to do to not get down on losing a teammate but continue to show great energy and enthusiasm and put that on the court where you've won games?
Well, I think I can go back to my very first conversation when guys start going down, because at one point 3 guys went down in 1 week. And I told those guys good things happen. I mean, bad things happen to good people. You know, you can take that and take it for what it's worth. And I thought, you know, our guys who are not hurt did a great job of bringing those guys who are injured along, because they was going through a tough time for a couple of weeks. And, you know, I reflected some personal experiences with those guys that I went through when I was injured. I missed a year of basketball myself from playing, but you can learn so much from the sidelines. And I remember talking to Brandon McElroy a couple of days ago about, you know, at the St. Joe game. I asked him, have you learned anything from the sideline? And he just, you know, looked at the game an entirely different way when you get a chance to sit there and watch, you know, 20, 25 games, and you can learn from that. So it's not a thing where, you're missing out, but at the same time you're learning as well. So it's one of those things where, you know, you feel bad for not playing, but you can also learn so much from sitting on the sidelines, and that's what those guys have been doing.
Overall, you took this is your 4th year taking over the program, and now in year 3, and now this year 4, you've won 19 games in back-to-back years. What is it you can credit, you know, to kind of fully turning the program back around and getting UIndy men's basketball back to a top 25 program in the country?
Well, we talked to our guys yesterday in practice. We brought them in. We talked about, you know, where we are and where we came from. And I told those guys, you know, I gave those guys a lot of credit. You know, 4 years ago, my very first year, we go 9-18, then we go 12-16, and last year we won 19. This year we're at 19 as well. But I gave those guys a lot of credit for, you know, just believing in what we're teaching here, buying into the program, and just making sure every night that they're trying to compete. And I thought the very first year we had really good guys on the team, but we didn't compete like we should have. And, you know, a lot of credit goes to Moss and O'Neal for coming in here. If you think about those 2 guys, you know, they lost 9 games last year and 7 to this point. So they're winners, and they instill that in our younger guys as well. But, you know, I can't forget the assistant coaches and the job they've done in bringing the kind of players here that we need for this program.
You mentioned Adrian Moss and Wilbur O'Neal, you know, 2 key guys that have been, you brought them in and they kind of turned the page here, 19 wins each of these last 2 years. We'll start with Adrian Moss. You know, what has he meant, you know, to what you've been able to do, both on the court and maybe perhaps what he brings off the court?
Well, he's our best leader, probably the best leader I've ever had. You know, we can go back to the David Logan days, the Darius Adams days, and I even coached good players at Indiana State, and, you know, David Moss. But Adrian Moss is the best leader I've ever coached. You know, he leads by example, first of all, but he's also one of those guys who he'll talk to you as well. You know, he's going to work his butt off, but he's also going to be on you, you know, from a verbal aspect of getting things done the right way. You know, we give out scouting reports on a team, and he looks at it for 5 minutes, and he knows everything that everybody's doing, know their tendencies, know their plays, and that's why he's been successful here.
And Wilbur O'Neal, a guy came in, gave you a low post presence, and a guy really, when I'm working on his bio and you look back, what he's been able to do here at UIndy really blown away, his stats and his numbers, what he accomplished in junior college. What did you see in him to know that he'd be capable of what he's done for you here these 2 years at UIndy?
Well, he was an upgrade from what we had in here prior to. We knew he was a strong guy who can catch the ball and score around the hoop. You know, he's really good at 15, you know, shooting a 15-foot jump shot, which we don't use enough. But his attitude has really carried him a long way more than anything. You know, you think about the guys who was here before. They were good players, but the attitude reflected and made those guys play bad. And I think Will's attitude has been great, as far as, you know, coming in every day with an open mind and wanting to win and wanting to be one of those guys we depend on. And he and I talk all the time about being a guy who we're going to depend on, and as far as keeping yourself out of trouble, so we can, because we really count on Will to do a lot. And we kind of structure the whole offense around, a guy like Wilbur O'Neal. If you look at our 4-hour winning offense, we try to get the ball into him as much as possible. And fortunately for him, he's getting a lot of touches, but he's also shooting a great percentage at the same time.
Now looking ahead this weekend, you've got the GLVC Championship in Springfield, Illinois, and you guys earned that first-round bye. How important was it for you to get kind of those extra, where you didn't have to play Sunday, and get kind of a full week off here between games?
Well, it was a blessing to have that, first day off from playing on Sunday. I think we needed it, just think about how long the season is, and with the numbers that we have as far as bodies in practice, I think a guy like Adrian Moss can benefit from a few days off of rest. I think you see him at his best this weekend because he's had quite a few days off to get himself ready to go. And then from a mental aspect, if you think about our younger guys and Cody Vest and Leland Brown and those other sophomores, Cheatham and Hamilton, those guys, from a mental aspect, it was good. Not many times you get a Friday and a Saturday day off during the season. I gave those guys Friday, Saturday off when we came here Sunday to watch the girls' game a little bit. The women's game a little bit, and then we got in and got some shots up. But you can tell these guys were fresh. They're excited about being here. And I look for big things to happen from these guys.
Well, let's look ahead to the matchup now. You get to play your alma mater, Southern Indiana, for the third time this season in the last game on Friday night at 9:30 Eastern Time. Has anything changed? What do you tell the guys about an opportunity here to play Southern Indiana for the third time this season after beating them already, sweeping the season series, beating them twice in the regular season?
Well, at this point, you can't take anybody for granted, no matter, if you beat them twice or you beat them 3 times. It don't matter. It's a new basketball season right now. And I think our guys know that. I've mentioned it. Moss is on top of it, but those guys know. They understand what's at stake here. We always say that we want to make this season the best possible for our seniors, and I think our guys are going to work hard enough to make sure we send these seniors out on the right note. And going to postseason play, it's one of those things where it's any given Sunday. Whether you have a good game or bad game, you got to come out and play your best. Right now, or you're done. And our guys understand what's at stake, and I feel really good about these guys. We've done a great job against Southern this year. Fortunately for us, we beat them both times, but I'm sure Southern has probably marked this day on their calendar to get another chance at us. And we just got to come in with the same mindset we did last game, with a tremendous amount of confidence. But at the same time, we got to have our hard hats on, because these guys really, they bring it. And we got to be one of those teams where we can't lay down. We got to step up to the challenge and accept whatever they throw at us, and understand what the game plan is. We're gonna do some things that worked in the first 2 games. We're not going to change much at all. We did a great job against those guys the first couple of games. We're going to just kind of keep it the same way and tweak a couple of things. But overall, we're going to try to do what we did in the first couple of games.
Well, Coach, thanks for the time, and good luck this week in Springfield at the GLVC Tournament.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.